Thank you for tuning in to ChannelBK. My name is Brian. These are my top 50 albums of 2021. We're going to get there. We're going to get through it. Watch my singles video at the very beginning if you want to know my news for 2022. I was about to say songs, but we already did songs. My movies list will be out in the new year, and I will probably have more information on everything that I explained in the beginning of that video. Without further ado, though, I just want to get into this list because, honestly, I was very nervous about this year. I don't think I was riding the high of projects like a lot of other people were. But I think that I think this list is honestly the best I can do with, the artists that came out. And I think, putting in these 50 was a really interesting time, and I think this album list is really, really pretty spot on. So let's get into it. 50, Donda, Kanye West. 49, we got Sketchy, Tune Yards. At 48, we have the return of Mick Jenkins with Elephant in the Room. At 47, we got 30 by Adele. And at 46, we got Is for Lovers, Death from Above, 1979. At 45, we got the surprise quick return of James Blake, Friends That Break Your Heart. At 44, we have Smiling with No Teeth, Genesis Owusu, which is one of the biggest records of the year. All the critics talking about it, shout out to him. At 43, we have the Color Blu. Once again, the return of Blue, very consistent lately with all his records that have been coming out, like year after year. 42, Take the Sadness Out of Saturday Night, Bleachers. At 41, we have Jubilee by Japanese Breakfast. And at 40, we have Hey What by Low. A little return to form, but also doing some brand new stuff. 39, we have Nurture by Porter Robinson. Great electronic record. And at 38, we have Sometimes I Might Be Introvert, Little Simz. At 37, we have Sour, again, Olivia Rodrigo, the huge star of the year, right? At 36, we got Valentine by Snail Mail. Again, changing it up, doing some different things this time around. At 35, we have Tyron, however you want to pronounce it, by slowthai. Slowthai got me. His first record, not a huge fan of. This record definitely was more my speed. 34, we got For the First Time, Black Country, New Road. At 33, we have Nick Cave and Warren Ellis with Carnage. 32, we have Lucy Dacus with Home Video. And at 31, we have the huge ambient experimental project from Sufjan Stevens about the loss of his father, Convocations. And other stuff, clearly. This year was crazy, as well as last year. At 30, we got God is Partying, Andrew WK. And at 29, we have the self-titled rap album from Vince Staples. Vince Staples. At 28, we got the huge collab project from Floating Points, PHAROAH Sanders, and the London Symphony Orchestra, which is Promises. At 27, I have Joshua Kirk's favorite album, one of his favorite albums that not enough people are talking about, and that is Madison by Sloppy Jane. And at 26, we have Lee Line Eon by Igloo Ghost, which is an experimental kind of EDM producer. And now into the top 25, with 25 being a very interesting concept album, which is Daddy's Home by St. Vincent. This album is very dense and has a lot of interesting things going on. And St. Vincent, as a singer and a songwriter on here, does a lot of really cool things. And I definitely recommend you all check that album out. At 24, we got Crawler by Idols. I know this is a very divisive record because they did something different. And, some people didn't like some of the different stuff they did. I thought a lot of the different stuff they did, and even the older stuff that they did, was great. I actually was really into this record. It was very different from their other releases, and I really got stuck on it for a lot of different reasons. So a very good record. At 23, we got King's Disease 2 by Nas, the return of Nas. It's great. And Hit Boy. They found their little, their kind of pocket, and they, who knows, maybe we'll get a third one by them. But if if this is what Nas went out on, I think it'd be a phenomenal way to end his career. But I don't think Nas is done. So let's hope that, it goes up from here. At 22, we got Survivor's Guilt, the mixtape by Kenny Hoopla, which is also featuring Travis Barker. I really liked the kind of path Kenny went on with this little mixtape. He clearly is trying to find his little, he's trying to find his voice. And, with his EPs and his singles that came out before this record, I think he pulled off this kind of old school kind of pop punk aesthetic really well. And I think it sounds great. And I think Travis sounds great on it too. 21, Roadrunner, New Light, New Machine, Brockhampton. I have issues with this record due to the sequencing of it. But other than that, I actually think this record is pretty damn good. Again, it still is following in that Brockhampton camp. And they're still, putting out quality work. So shout out to them. And hopefully if their next record is their last record, it's even better. So let's hope. At number 20, we got OK Human by Weezer, which is their Baroque pop album. And it's fantastic. And it's very intriguing. And again, it's very experimental and different for the group. And I love kind of how they put this album together. 19, Happier Than Ever, Billie Eilish. In a weird way, I like and dislike this album more than her debut. She does a lot more things on this, and, it could be taken as it being kind of a bit of a hot mess. I don't think so. I actually feel like her kind of diving into, the past relationship that was made apparent in her, Disney Plus or Netflix movie. I think it was Netflix, whichever. Because Disney Plus has this album thing. But, kind of doing that and like her fame and all that sort of stuff, I think is very interesting for someone in her situation. And I think musically, I was happy that she kind of branched out a little bit more. There's still a little bit of kind of that old Billie in her and in this album, but I'm glad that she sort of expanded past that. At 18, we got Bright Green Field, Squid. In a year of Black Country New Road, Black Midi, Squid is definitely up there. Again, it's kind of a different take on that sort of sound of music, and I thought it was really good. And that's really kind of all I want to say about it, because I think it's definitely just an album to experience. Number 17 is Ska Dream by Jeff Rosenstock. Him just flipping his last record into a ska album. And it works way better than it should have, but it is pretty fucking fantastic and pretty funny. 16, we got Inside by Bo Burnham. Again, this is something that kind of struck a chord with a lot of us this year, in terms of comedy, in terms of existential crisis, in terms of musically. And I think it's great. It's really well written. And, musically, it's again, taking it from what he does and where he is, I think this is such a huge step forward for him. And just like the special and encompasses, it's very great and very defining for him. 15, we got LP, JPEG Mafia. I've still not listened to the online version yet, but the offline version is fantastic. Sequencing is great, and I think this is one of his best records. 14, we got Stand For Myself, Yola. I was really looking forward to this record, and I love her vocals. I love the sound, the way this album is mixed. It is such a great time, and it really just pulls you in. It's fantastic, and it's very lovely, and it's done in such a classy way that it is, again, it's great, and I suggest you all take a listen to that album. 13, we got Illusory Walls. Oh my God, I can't even say it. The New World Is album. Illusory Walls. That's a hard word to say. Am I just stupid? I guess I am. This is The Return of the World Is. There's a lot on here that is very different. There's a lot that they've done before. One thing they haven't done before is the last two songs just being these huge behemoths, which I think, some people take issue to that. I don't. I think this record is fantastic, and all of their records kind of sit in a weird place of like, some of them I think I ended up liking more than others. And you know how each year goes, you kind of have different listings. Oh no, I said that. Jesus, Brian. And like, I don't know if I like this more than their last record. I feel like I do, but that record was higher up, but I don't know. There's a lot going on. Anyways, other than that, it's a fantastic record. It's what they do best, but also kind of branching into these bigger territories. Number 12 is a lot more of a simplistic album. That is Glow On by Turnstile. It's not simplistic in a, like, it's very boring and derivative. It's, well, obviously not boring because it's this high up. It's super unique, and I love the way it's put together and mixed. And again, it went in directions I was not even expecting. It's very unique in that way, because I was expecting one kind of album and it gave me some other stuff too. And at number 11, we got An Evening with Silk Sonic by Silk Sonic. Just a great, again, it's an homage to that style and doing it in a new, fresh way. Top 10, number 10, Sinner, Get Ready, Lingua Ignota. Was not really big into her last record. It wasn't, and I don't think it was because of how aggressive it was, because I've been getting into stuff like that. I was more so expecting, I think it just, the way it lingers in some of its moments did not captivate me like on here. I think vocally she is stunning, and I also just love the kinds of musical elements on this record. It's gorgeous, and it's just harrowing at the same time. And I think what I thought her last record was trying to be, this record does way better. And again, I know with everything she talks about, again, it's one of those, if you like the music, you like the music. And I actually really dug this album a lot more than her last record. Her last record's still pretty solid. This record, though, is fantastic. Number 9 is Juno, Remy Wolf. I love the way this is put together. I think charisma-wise, she is just so in your face, and she has so much personality, and I love her confidence, and I love how she writes songs and what her songs are about, and the way she kind of constructs it and all that sort of stuff. This was one of my big surprises of the year. I was very excited to hear this record, and it blew me away. It was fantastic. 8 is Call Me If You Get Lost by Tyler, the Creator. Again, Tyler is in a run. I wasn't expecting a record like this. It's a nice surprise, and it's definitely him kind of doing what he's done the last couple records, but doing it in a braggadocious way, and him sort of showing us why, he is important. And it's a great record, and I feel like a lot of what he does on here, there are like one or two low moments for me, but I actually think it's a well put together record. And it's one of those things where the more I think about it, the more I'm like, oh no, like I definitely listened to this a lot more than I thought. At number 7, we got Godspeed at State's End, the new Godspeed You Black Emperor record. I've been really into a lot of their newer stuff. Not their 2015 record, but definitely their newer sort of slate of releases. And I think this brings what they've been doing lately, and also kind of pulls in some of their older things that they've done, and does it in a way that, once again, Godspeed, you could kind of get tired at a certain point, but they just keep finding ways to get not even bigger, just more conceptual and even more intricate and interesting, and do it in a way that keeps your attention. Number 6, I'm surprised this record is as high up as it is, given how much I like it versus other records. It's By the Time I Get to Phoenix, Injury Reserve. It is so weird, so experimental, and there's a lot about this record that I've sort of been questioning, that a lot of those questions haven't really been answered. It's more of like I've kind of settled with what might be. There's still a song or two on here that sonically has not fully grasped me, because I think just in general I don't like what they're doing. But honestly, other than like a song or two kind of in the middle, I think this record is fantastic. Outside is a great way to open it. Superman That is fucking bananas. I think the way it ends is fantastic. The concept on here is super dark. And again, what they're doing on here is super dark and super experimental, more so than their last stuff. And I'm interested where they go forward if, like I said, from what it sounds like they've been talking that they do possibly have another record. So we'll see. Now that Groggs is gone, we'll see kind of where they move forward with this. But, rest in peace to Groggs. He's the man. And I think this is a great kind of send-off in certain ways to him. But yeah, fantastic. Number 5 is Haram, Armand Hammered and The Alchemist. This is my favorite rap album of the year, which is shocking because Armand Hammer either gets me or they don't. And even The Alchemist lately too, but this record is there's just so much to this record that I think works so perfectly with the two of them, or rather the three of them. But it is so dense and it has so much going on, and it's not even a long release, but it has so much to pick apart from everything, obviously from lyrics, but even from the production side as well. It's harrowing, and it's really just, it has this kind of slickness, but dourness and this intensity that Alchemist, obviously, as I've talked about on singles and on here, that he's so great at, and it's fantastic. And number 4, we have How Long Do You Think It's Gonna Last by Big Red Machine. I think this is a fantastic collab. I think all of the guest artists on here are gorgeous and stunning, and it's just such a great collaboration and collage of what these two artists do best, and done in a way where I think, it makes me longing to hear, kind of new stuff from both of them individually, but together it's really well done. Number 3, we got Cavalcade by Black Midi. I remember listening to that first Black Midi album being like, this is cool for what it is. It is not for me. This record, on the other hand, is fantastic and is nearly perfect. It has such a perfect flow, and it goes from one song to the next with ease, and the way they structure it is well done, and I feel like this is what I was expecting off their last record, but this is super unique and different, and they play around with so many different things that work so well, and it's fantastic. Number 2, we got A Beginner's Mind, Sufjan Stevens and Angelo De Augustine. This is, again, like I said in the singles list, this is what they do best. It's just gorgeous, heavenly, just all the stuff they do on here is fantastic. It reminds me of kind of that singer-songwriter Sufjan, mixing with some kind of things that I think actually work really well. And all the the movie references are fantastic. And again, if you research it, it's interesting. And if you don't, it's still a fantastic record. And Sufjan made it twice on here because he's just, cranking out stuff. But this record, kind of going to that simplicity, is just so well done. It's fantastic. But at number 1 is an album that genuinely I was not expecting to be here. Not because I didn't like it, but I was kind of shocked that this would always be the record that I was thinking of. That's Seek Shelter by Ice Age. It is a short, slender record where I remember listening through it multiple times being like, there's not really a moment that I get bored or tired of this record at all. Every time I listen to this record, I am just so enamored with what they do. Them kind of changing up some of it lyrically on this record in a more, not upbeat way, but just it's not as, I guess, crazy experimental or brutal like their last couple records are. And I think just songwriting wise it's great, performance wise it's great, and I just love the way that this album is mixed. And I don't know, it's I don't know what it is about this record, but it makes me keep coming back to it because it is my favorite album of the year. It is so great, and I love it, and I suggest you all listen to it. And yeah, that's my albums of the year. If you agree or disagree, leave it in the comments below. Again, movies in the new year, a classic review every month in 2022. But until then, and until you all get an update, have a great holiday. We'll see you all soon. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for tuning into Channel BK. Peace out, guys.